the Spurs got Victor Wembanyama, right?
Yep.
And I don't know, how much you've gotten to watch, but I will say this. I got to see them play. I saw them play game 1 and game 2. I didn't catch the whole game last night. They got stomped by the Clippers. But game 1 until the end and game 2 were both in San Antonio. And I have not seen the AT&T Center or whatever it's called now, Frostbank Arena. Frostbank Arena. I have not seen that place rocking since being in attendance at Game 5 of the NBA Finals in 2014 when we took down the Miami Heat to win it all. That place was wild. Wembanyama at the end of the game, Spurs were down. He has this series where he goes down, he chased down blocks. I'm sorry, he challenges Jabari Smith at the rim, stuffs him at the rim, meets him there. Jabari Smith gets the rebound, blocks him again, goes down the other way, scores. Keldon Johnson slamming it home like it looks like a young Russell Westbrook out there. And then Victor ends up not only hitting the game tying shot with about 10 seconds to go. The Spurs get a stop, and in overtime, he hits the first shot on the go-ahead, and they kind of hit Vassell, Keldon, Wemby. They've got a good young core.
They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Right? They can be a fun team to watch, I think, for sure.
You think they have any potential? I'll pose this question real quick. I think there's excitement around this team for the first time in a long time.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But in reality, is this team, and obviously they're not a contender this year whatsoever, but I guess my question to you is this. Are they like a Sacramento here where we have some pieces here and it's going to take some time? Or do you think that we need one or two big free agents over the next half decade before we're relevant?
No, I think it's like Sacramento and it's just time. Because I think the other guys are pretty, the surrounding cast, good young core of talent are pretty good. I think we do have to get one more decent piece. But I really do think Wembanyama is going to be the superstar everybody says he is.
He looks like it.
Dude, he's 19 years old, isn't he?
I
mean, what is he?
Yeah, he's 19.
I told you the stats of his team that he played for in France and got second. They finished ahead of one Euro League team. They got second in France and started the year like 0-9 now and have been outscored by like 200 points.
Yeah.
And I think they have relatively the same team. I don't know that for sure, but without him.
Yeah.
So, like, that team, the Metropolitans, finished, I think, second in the league, second or third, made it all the way to the finals in France and lost to Monaco, who usually wins that league. But, I mean, he's just, a once-in-a-decade player and going to be a franchise player.
Yeah, he might even be once in a century player.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about staying, healthy and putting on some weight, putting on some muscle so you don't get as injured, or as injury prone. But I would say the promising thing, and I don't know how tall is Chet Holmgren?
7'3".
Yeah, so he to me, I know he got hurt a little bit, but he's put on some weight and they've done a really nice job with him in Oklahoma City, making him more filled out and whatever, and I think that's what we'll do with Wembanyama. But he really can. Now, I don't like, my brother was talking about how disgusted he is with the NBA. He's like, we have Victor Wembanyama, who's 7'5", shooting fucking threes. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good point, right? It's like, that would have never happened in the night. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Stick your ass in the post.
Yeah. So, I mean, he can shoot it, obviously. But yeah, that's the thing, is how sweet his stroke is for being 7'5".
It's insane.
Can really shoot it. He's got all this coordination and get up and down the floor, and it's only going to get better. He's super, super young, super, super raw. So I think we have, with him and the guys around him, in 2-3 years, and we'll have plenty to contend for a title. But it definitely would help getting, one more big piece, which someone will want to come play for him at a discounted rate. You know how it goes.
No doubt.
Someone will be ring chasing.
That Rockets game, he had 21, 12, and 3 blocks, 2 steals, and an assist. I mean, he's just a monster all over
the place.
He's Giannis, but he can shoot. Now, he's not as strong as Giannis, but if you look at what Giannis was when he came in the league, it was about the same type of stature. I mean, he's thin, he was skinny.
Yeah.
Questions about injuries. Nobody really thought he was like the 14th pick. He wasn't drafted nearly as high.
I don't think anybody expected Giannis to fill out quite the way he did.
No,
now he's just a human wreck. I mean, there's no way to stop him. Just get out of the way or foul him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do anything.
There's nothing you can do. And now,
but yeah, I mean, Wemby at this point is still, just right now, a far, far better shooter than
way better. And he hadn't shot it great in the first games from 3. I think he's shooting about 24%. I mean, very small sample size.
I will say that I would like, and I get it, he's filling it out and just do whatever. It's not like the Spurs are winning anything. But you know, get your feet underneath you and do whatever. But I could go for him shooting maybe 3 to 4 threes a game. I don't want him shooting more threes.
No, I agree.
I mean, it's just, here's the thing. He's a good he's a fine 3-point shooter.
Right.
But when it comes to like the rest of the league, he's still a below average 3-point shooter.
And until I see him shooting like 37% from 3 consistently, I don't want him shooting that many, because my issue with it isn't the fact that he's shooting the threes. It's that he's away from the basket when the shot goes up. Anyone else shoots the ball and he's near the basket, that's got to be a 30% chance the ball's going to go into his hands because he's so damn big and long. So it's like, to me, you take him away from the basket, all that. He's driving to the rim and scoring in the paint. I think in the preseason a couple times they showed like he was like 90% in the paint. It's just like you can't stop him around the rim. It's like Giannis. So
yeah, I think he was one game he was like 9 out of 10 on 2-pointers, and then he was like 1 of 3 from 3.
Right, like it's fine.
It's like, if you're wide open, I guess shoot it, but, and like I said, this is just a year to learn and do whatever and figure out what you're going to be, but I would limit the threes.
And I think the respect factor, not necessarily that you shoot a ton, but that you have the threat of hitting them, just makes it so much harder to guard you.
For sure.
So that's the important part for him. Less so about making 4 threes a game. It's, can you knock down 3? Can you knock down 2 out of 4 if you're wide open? If you can, you got to be respected out there, and there's just no way to guard you.
And I haven't seen it, but I assume defenses are pretty much saying they're giving, although he's a better shooter than Giannis, they're pretty much giving him the Giannis treatment, saying, go ahead and shoot a 3 because that's our best percentage of you not scoring is shooting that.
I think I think whenever he doesn't have the ball, if he's on the perimeter, people have sagged more. Yeah. If he has the ball, they're not as far off of Giannis from what I've seen, mostly because I think he's not ready to just blow by anybody just yet. I mean, he can, but he's not like Giannis where it's just like, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right. I think they're going to play him very similar and just say, well, if you're going to make 5 threes against us, then so be it, but you're not going to beat us at the rim. It's hard to do that in the NBA with the way defense is called and the way fouls are called, but I agree that's probably how he's going to be played. Regardless, it's exciting to watch. I'm excited now. For the last 5 years, it's just been so boring. I'm excited to watch the Spurs play every night, win or lose, just to see
I'll
them
give
play.
You credit. You would still watch some of the games and they were horrible. I was a fair weather fan that's just like my whole thing is I'd rather watch college basketball.
Oh, I would too.
So I've never really been. Now, obviously, growing up with Duncan and, Ginobili is my favorite player of all time, Parker, all those guys, obviously loved the Spurs and watched it. But basketball is played so much different now, 10 years later. There's not a lot of physicality in the game at all.
Yep.
The final scores are 137 to 130, and the game didn't even go to overtime. It's just like, what are we doing here?
I missed the 78 to 81 games.
Exactly.
Those were fun.
And people, I guess I'm in the minority that, don't like that because I've talked to people that, are associated with the league. Like, no, people like points and they want to see this. And I'm like, I guess, man. But my whole thing is
viewership on the NBA is down since they've done that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but my whole thing is I actually don't mind the high scoring. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I hate the shooting 90 free throws a game.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to see.
Yeah.
So if they officiated the game where James Harden is shooting 22 free throws and throwing his head back and throwing his arms up, that's fine. I don't care if, you're running and gunning and scoring points, but I don't want to sit there and see guys shoot fucking free throws.
So fucking annoying. You're 100% right. Yeah. James Harden shooting 20 free throws a game ruined the fucking NBA for me, and it's why I stopped watching. In all honesty, I used to watch way more NBA games. I used to get the league pass every year.
Yeah, I remember.
And I would watch the games. But I used to love watching Russell Westbrook play every game. But James Harden ruined basketball for me.
The bearded monster.
The bearded monster
Your dad's
ruined
favorite player.
And of course, he's done nothing but ruin the NBA because he's never even won a championship for all the bullshit he did. But
that's right.
Yeah, that's just disgusting. But the Spurs are exciting, and I'm excited to watch them over the next couple years. Not a fan of the GM, not a fan of Pop anymore, but it's hard to fuck up what you got there.
It's brought life back to the city.
It
was one of those deals where it was like, okay, the Spurs, this and that and the other. Are they going to move to Austin? And maybe that's happening 5 years down the line. Now it's like, all right, where are we building our new stadium downtown?
I know.
It's gone 0 to 60 real quick. Everybody's back on the Spurs, which is great.
But we'll move on.